Now looking for a motion to name the official newspapers for legal notices and employment advertising, the inter-county newspapers of the Advance, the Bucks County Courier-Times, and if needed, the Intelligencer and/or the Philadelphia Inquirer.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to name the following financial institutions as depositories for the Borough of Newtown: the First National Bank and Trust of Newtown and Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, otherwise known as Pliget.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the mileage reimbursement when authorized by supervisor and/or president of council for employees and elected officials at 50 cents per mile as set by the IRS.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a series of appointments now. I'm looking for a motion to appoint a secretary to serve at the will and pleasure of council.
To appoint a secretary or to appoint Marcia as secretary?
You can make the motion.
Okay. So moved. To appoint Marcia Scull as secretary, to serve as secretary at will or at the pleasure of council.
Second. Sorry.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to appoint a treasurer.
I'll move that the council reappoint Patricia A. Hours to serve as treasurer at the will or pleasure of the council.
Second that.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Actually, I have some things to distribute here. I'm sorry. Regarding borough engineer and borough solicitor, both our current engineer and our solicitor have resigned their positions effective today, and we will be scheduling interviews for both of those positions on Wednesday in an executive session and making our decision on the 12th.
With that understanding, I would move to table appointments of the borough professionals, that is, say, the engineer and the solicitor, until the meeting of January 12th.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, do I have a motion to appoint Keystone Municipal Services to serve as building inspector, code enforcement officer, HARB administrator, and zoning officer at the will or at the pleasure of council, according to the fee schedule provided, dated 12/29/09?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Going back to our last meeting, I was of the impression at the end of the last meeting when, Julia, you made a motion to advertise for a solicitor and engineer that we were also going to be examining Keystone. And I'm just curious as to why we're doing it all. We're doing it this way and not that way.
Those
'Cause
motions-
I think you even suggested that perhaps we should look at Keystone also. I'm just asking the question.
Well, as I recall, that motion failed.
I know it failed, but we were talking about all three of the professional service providers. I'm asking why we're not talking about this third professional service provider.
I can tell you my own view, which I expressed at that same meeting, and that was that the number of firms doing that kind of work are extremely limited, and in Bucks County probably less than a handful, while the number of firms doing solicitor work and engineering work is considerable. So the problem we might face is, frankly, finding anyone else, or in terms of several to select from. That was my own feeling I expressed at that meeting. Having said that, I think there's a motion pending, and I would suggest if that fails, then we may return to a need to look elsewhere, but if it passes, then it's a moot point.
Julia, just one issue. You added the language in accordance with the fee schedule. to the language that's actually on the agenda. I'm fine with that, but I do want to make clear that we were provided with a draft consulting services agreement from Keystone that has not yet been reviewed by the solicitor that we have not yet appointed, or reviewed or discussed by council. So I just want to clarify that the motion is to appoint Keystone at the pleasure and will and pleasure of council, but not at this point adopting the consulting services agreement that's been provided by them.
Do you want to amend the motion?
The other point to Perry's comment, did we not have an open item with Keystone in revising their fee schedules for 2009 for the borough? And there are two open items. They want to make a recommendation for the borough to change its fee schedules. Should we make that contingent to this motion?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow that, Bob.
Keystone is suggesting that the borough change its fee schedule, so we also make the motion contingent upon their recommendations for our fee schedule.
I'm not sure why we'd want to link those two.
Because their fees may go up in conjunction with it.
Oh, I understand that. This is just to appoint them. It's subject to, as Perry points out, a contract still to be reviewed by the solicitor. And I think the same is true of any of the fee schedules.
Okay.
But, you know, as little unfinished business as possible going forward from tonight seems to be in all our best interests.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to appoint a chairperson of the Vacancy Board for a one-year term through December 31st, 2010.
I move that Mary Jane Leonard be appointed to serve as chairperson of the Vacancy Board.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to appoint Mary Jane Leonard. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.